Well, welcome to I'm in a good game. I sound like Joe Biden. Hang on. Botnet? Hey, enough. Botnet, it's live, baby. Listen to me, man. I'm going to swallow my gum and we're going to start the show. Hang on. Sorry. Hey, Astro Cyborg says, did the Civil War start yet? No, but they did announce officially he'll be indicted tomorrow. Who the fuck knows? I don't know, man. All right. I know you're like, well, that's why I did the song. I saw CR3D being like, oh, this is such a cheap show. It is. Because he's repeating the song. Yeah. Because, you know, I don't like coming on the show with the gum not swallowed, but, you know, hang on. You guys are like, what the fuck show is this, man? Just trust me. I got a great show lined up. I'm trying to be on time. This is what happens when I show up on time. I'm not ready. All right. Hello, human beings. It's Jaffe. Good to see you, fellas. And Filettis. Good to see members Adam and Jojo D and Mutant Mo. All you guys. I appreciate it. Alex, Eddie. Thank you, fellas. Fuck you, Kumar Jenkins. Stop the chewing. How about you stop fucking your mom? Yes! Woo! That one took a lot out of me. That was funny. Listen. I'm so hyper. My Ritalin is kicking in. I literally just took it like 20 minutes ago. This is I spilled Coke all over myself. Now I'm cold. I'm going to work through it. I'm a professional. I literally just spilled. I'm freezing now. My nether regions are tingling with aspartame. Anyway, welcome to Gabbin' Games, fellas. It's good to see everybody. That was Alex Plox, our very own Alex Plox, God of War member at the top of the show with his rendition of Quake Zone Rumble from Twisted Metal 2. The man has a very large library of great synthy tunes, but he's not just about the goddamn synth. Check him out at the link tree below. I appreciate you, Alex, and thank you for always providing the great leading music to the Gabbin' and the games. I want to just give you guys a couple of heads up. I know, but I got to do it. I know people call it housekeeping. I don't know. We got to come up with a better term for that. Let's change it, but I don't know what it's going to be. I want to call out Logan the Lurker, Captain Geach, Rotten Tanuki, Zach Procrastinates, Alex Plox, of course, and Eddie Torres for being the God of War goddamn tier members that really make this show sing. Thank you, fellas. I appreciate it. The God of War tier members. Also, I want to let some people know on Discord, I did get your notes last night. I got a couple of people reaching out for me going, I'll be your Dustin. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. It was from yesterday's show. But I got your messages, and I will respond today or tomorrow, certainly in this week sometime. So letting you know that. Thursday, come on now. What do we got going on? We got a lot of member shit going on this week. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. I just want to bring it to your attention, and then we'll move on. Thursday is the Game Developer Award Show and the Independent Game Festival awards happening at GDC. That's going to be live broadcast. I'll be streaming it here starting, I believe, 6:30 California time. It's everybody can watch, members only chat. Right after that, or right before that, sorry, is the Future Game Show, which Private Division has a number of, or at least has one game there. But there's a lot of cool PC games, a lot of cool indie games. We'll be streaming that live. Both of those are on Thursday. The last thing I want to tell you, about this member stuff is, and I have gotten no response, which means you're not interested, which is totally fair, or it means you're not listening to me. This Saturday at March 25th, 2 o'clock Eastern time. So what is that, 11 a.m. California time to 12:30. Gabbin' and Game members will be able to watch, and some will be able to participate in what is called Alien. I think they're calling this one Alien Rescue. If you have a VR headset or not PS, but anything other than PlayStation VR will work. Or if you have a flat screen PC and you're a member, hit me up in the Discord, because I have 3 tickets to be basically what this is. It's a live virtual reality game movie where all the roles except the people that are ticketed, that have tickets, are played by real actors that perform the show 5, 6, 7 times a week. Okay. So it's a sci-fi game. It doesn't look like much. I'm not going to try to sell you on like the graphics are. It's not that kind of thing. It's more of an experimental, kind of theatrical, weird fucking thing. And maybe it's going to be great. Maybe it's going to be stupid as shit. I don't know, but I got tickets for a bunch of us. So if you're interested, hit me up, send me a DM in the Discord. And this is going to be happening this coming Saturday. And hopefully I will see some of you guys there. If not, it's not PSVR compatible. No, it's basically only PC. And then if you have a VR headset that works on PC, then you can join in VR. But I'll probably be doing it in straight up flat screen. And the other thing is, remember, if you're a member at all, you'll also be able to watch it. I'm only going to be streaming this for members. I may open it up later, but the first couple of weeks, if you want to watch it, you got to be a member. All right, there you go. That's as the kids say, the housekeeping. Let's talk about the news that just dropped right as the show was going live. Boom! Spider-Man Tony Todd, aka Candyman, aka great voice actor, great horror actor. He was also in Hatchet, I think. PlayStation Spider-Man 2 will release in September, says Tony Todd, who plays Venom in the video game. Here's what he said. He says somebody was talking about the game, and he said, looks like September. Massive publicity coming in August. Commercials start dropping in August, so I'm told. Hold on to your breath. Going to be necessary. I don't know if that's a hint. I don't know if there's any. I love Spider-Man. I can't think of a Spider-Man villain that takes your breath away, that like sucks your, maybe he's being, I don't know if he's a hint or not. Regardless, though, a September release for PlayStation's flagship, this is all coming from Video Games Chronicle, says it's kind of going up against Starfield, because that's coming out the 6th, or I thought it was the 9th, but the 6th or the 9th of September. And then this is coming out, which is great. More competition. Who gives a shit at this point? I got a story coming up later in the game about, in the show, about a game that was massive for like 4 days, and then people moved on because there's so many releases at this point. I don't know how this is going to continue without a crash. But anyway, September 6th, Starfield. Spider-Man 2 is looking like September. Obviously, it didn't seem like he was supposed to say that. Maybe Sony's mad at him. Maybe nobody gives a shit. But I'm excited. People are really excited about this game, as they should be. Miles Morales, Spider-Man, Peter Parker coming together to fight a bunch of bad guys. However, the wording of Todd's tweet could suggest, back to Games Chronicle, PlayStation's window isn't set in stone, so it could theoretically be shifted. Maybe. Anyway, I'm excited. That'll be happening very soon. I'm a little more excited about Wolverine, even though I love Spider-Man way more than Wolverine, because the director, Brian Horton and Cameron Christian, who made Miles Morales, which is my favorite superhero game of all time, except maybe going head-to-head with Marvel Midnight Suns, are directing Wolverine. And I follow directors and creators versus brands. I love Spidey, but there have been shit Spidey games and brilliant Spidey games, so who gives a shit, really? But anyway, I'm excited. I'm super excited. Morgan says, I won't be playing Starfield. Have fun. Why will you not be playing Starfield? Do you just not have Game Pass? I want to know, says Morgan, what the hell Sony has going on other than Spider-Man. I don't know. My understanding is Spider-Man and Factions, which is the Last of Us multiplayer. It's not called Factions. That was the working title, or a title that the press gave it, or something. I don't fucking know where it came from. Maybe it came from the multiplayer in 2. I don't know. We know those two things: Spider-Man, that, and Wolverine. My understanding is there's supposed to be something before June 11th from Sony, but these are all rumors. This was a Jeff Grubbian rumor. And he says, oh no, there's going to be a Sony showcase to kind of push some of their future stuff, whether it's just Spidey and whether it's just Factions, whether it's also the PS5 Pro, which I think is stupid. We'll have to find out coming pretty soon. Hey, by the way, I want to let you know, we got Rogue Radical. Thank you so much, buddy. Has just stepped up and said, I want to support the show, and I appreciate it, buddy. Rogue Radical, one of our community members, says, I'm a part of the Diet Soda Soldiers. You're goddamn right. Thank you, sir. And of course, Ricardo Estevez, who, by the way, I don't know if you saw the top of the show, Ricardo, I will get back to you. I got your very nice Discord message. Haven't had a chance to get back to it yet. Has also said, I'm going to resub to the Diet Soda Soldiers because it speaks to me. Thank you, Ricardo, as always, buddy. And thank you for being part of our community. Morgan, you're talking about, I'm a little confused because Morgan's like, Morgan says, I'm not interested in Bethesda games. You want shit from the main studio. I don't know what you want, Morgan, but all I can tell you is I have to imagine you like Bayonetta like a lot of the reviewers do. I could not get my head around the demo, so I won't be playing the new Bayonetta Child of the Witch or whatever the fuck it's called. But I do hear it's really good if you can kind of hang with it. Did you hear what... who's the crazy guy over at Platinum? The guy who that yells at everybody on Twitter. He said people are gonna. He says, I guarantee you that this game, this is Bayonetta. It's got like a little spin-off puzzle, some combat, isometric view, cutesy thing from Platinum. I didn't like the demo very much. A lot of people seem to really like the game. He said today or yesterday in Japan, he said that this Bayonetta game, the Bayonetta character, who's a little girl in this game, is so cute that it is going to fix Japanese birth population decline problem, which has been in decline for quite some time. He says, because people will play the game and they will see how cute she is and say, I want one of those. I want a baby. And they'll go fuck a lot in Japan, whereas they're not fucking a lot right now. And then the babies will come and they'll be Bayonetta babies. This is news. This actually was talked about on an actual press conference for Bayonetta. So don't fuck with me. Don't act like I'm making shit up. Jaffe, that's what you said. I don't know what you're talking about, Morgan, at this point. Just call into the show, Morgan. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But here's the point. I agree, Carlos, it is crazy. Kamiya didn't say it without source. What do I get, Morgan, if I show you the source right now? If I show you the source, will you up your tier at Gabbin and Games? Will you go buy a tumbler at the Gabbin and Games store? Don't fucking come at me. You know I got a source. You know I can bring that source up in 5 seconds. Come on now. Come on now. I get a pat on the back. I'm good. All the gaming showcases, says Kush, are 2 years put so they can pivot, except Nintendo's, but even they jerk us around. Well, I mean, what do you want? What do you want? You want the big production value? You want the great animation? By the way, AI is going to take care of all of this pretty soon. Somebody was telling me that tomorrow, hold on to your butts, because Fortnite is dropping their Unreal editor for people to use. And it looks, I don't know, Rob the Mod, I know you're doing a big pro game now, but I told a game designer friend of mine, he's a great game designer, but his stuff is very, very gamey, right? And it doesn't really have as much of a home these days anymore with like very realistic kind of environments where it's like, no, I know that this is more fun to traverse the level this way, but the architecture doesn't fit the net, whatever. And I says to the guy, I says, dude, you could be making a killing making levels in Roblox and making levels in mods in Fortnite, especially with the new Fortnite tools that are dropping tomorrow. The Creative 2.0, which is basically a sort of a modified Unreal 5 interface for your PC. So I don't disagree with you. D Select says Fortnite will change the world tomorrow with Creative 2.0. I don't know if it's going to become the YouTube for video games, which is sort of always sort of the thing that gets floated, but it is pretty fucking impressive. I'm with you. I'm absolutely with you on that. Salvador Pierre says, Jaffe, if you play God of War, your girlfriend will get pregnant. Yeah, that's what the marketing should have been. Okay. Papa Jaffe says, Jazz, will you resume God of War Ragnarok eventually? I think no. I think I think I'm pretty much done with it. I have no real interest in going back to it. So unless they drop some DLC that is like fucking wow, no, I think I'm pretty much totally done with that game. I am, as I said, I was very impressed by it. I'm not taking the piss out of it. It's a wonderfully made game, and the music and the audio and the animation and the combat, it's just a deliciously, wonderfully prepared meal. I just don't happen to like that particular item on the menu. Wow, I hung in there for the whole metaphor. Ritalin works. Fuck you if you don't agree. Yeah, no, I don't have any plans to come back to it. Listen to this. You know how a lot of gamers like to go online and they like to sort of backseat drive or Monday morning quarterback and act like they know what the fuck they're talking about, right? Now, look, I tell you when I don't know. When I talk about shit like the Activision deal, I'm like, talk to Hogue, right? I bring Pactor on when I can because I'm just kind of like, I'm responding as a layperson. But I acknowledge it. I'm open about it. I'm honest with you guys. Come on now. I'm honest with you guys. No, come on. Well, finally a judge has stepped up and told the gamers, shut the fuck up. You know nothing. You know nothing. A judge, this is reporting from GameSpot. Okay. A judge has dismissed a class action lawsuit brought forth by regular everyday gamers, my favorite people. Isn't that terrible? I'm not dismissive of gamers. I love gamers, but I love kind people who are gamers. I don't like these assholes a lot. It doesn't matter. The point is the Ritalin needs to work because I got to tell you, a class action lawsuit brought forth by regular everyday gamers that was attempting to block Microsoft's proposed purchase of Activision Blizzard and the Call of Duty series. So a bunch of just gamers went to the court and said, I want to stop this. Okay. The judge, District Judge Jacqueline Scott Corley, said on Monday, the plaintiffs failed to make their case based on the rule of law. The complaint does not plausibly allege the merger creates a reasonable probability of anti-competitive effects in any relevant market, she said. The judge took issue with alleged concerns that Microsoft buyout would have anti-competitive effects by making games like Call of Duty exclusive. Here's what she said about that. While plaintiffs allege that based on what their law degree from playing, Ace Attorney. What the fuck is that guy's name? It's Ace Attorney, right? Ace Ventura? I don't fucking know. You know what I'm talking about? The guy who says object from Capcom. Well, plaintiffs allege Microsoft might obtain the ability to make Activision games exclusive, and they assert Microsoft would have the incentive to do this. They do not make any factual allegations that support the conclusory incentive assertion. As in, if you claim this shit, unlike on Twitter, you have to back it up with facts. She continues, why would Microsoft make Call of Duty exclusive to its platforms, thus resulting in fewer games sold, the judge asked. What is it about the console market or PC games market and Microsoft's position in those markets that makes it plausible there is a reasonable probability Microsoft would take such steps? Again, you can sue anybody for anything. Anybody for fucking anything. But when you get in front of a fucking court, the rubber meets the road. She took issue also with the allegation that a merger could lead to higher prices, less innovation, less creativity, less consumer choice, decreased output, and other anti-competitive effects. Right. All the shit these games, no innovation is bad for the industry. And she's like, okay, prove it. She says the plaintiff's claim was insufficient, adding that the plaintiffs failed to explain why and how any of that would be true. Think about that. This is what the judge is saying. She's calling out these fucking morons. She's all you people out there saying it's going to make games worse and it's not creative and it's anti-consumer. And she literally says to you, not to you because you don't say these things, that's insufficient, pals. You are failing to explain why and how any of that would be true. You just saying it's true doesn't make it true. I know you like The Secret and everything, but it doesn't really work that way. So anyway, I like that story. It makes me happy. I'm honest with you guys. I know I should be like, well, that judge is wrong. And me. I can't, man. I just can't because some of these gamers are so fucking obnoxious. She deserves a raise, says Astro Cyborg. Yeah. Can they just buy Activision so we can stop talking about it, says Carlos. I'm sure they would like that too. Speaking of Activision, Crash Bandicoot. It's not really it is Activision's. Might be Microsoft's. That's irrelevant though. Crash Bandicoot comes up today and says, hey, we got this new fangled video game. This is interesting, and it kind of ties into a bigger narrative about a number of things. But let me show you this while I'm reading you the story, shall we? Hey, come on now. Let me show you this while I'm reading you the Cock-a-Doodle story. Sorry. My computer's not very smart. Sometimes it does things. It's stupid. Okay. Okay, here's the story. I want to tell you about this. The story is... There we go. Here it is. This is a trailer they put out, pre-order trailer for Crash Team Rumble. We saw this at the Game Awards. Well, now, this morning, they dropped this trailer. It says, this reporting from Games Radar. The game requires players to gather up Wumpa fruit and deposit said collected fruit into a bank of sorts. The team with the most gathered fruit wins. Crash Team Rumble is clearly a live service game. While not free to play by any means, a standard version will run $30. There will be seasons of content and a premium battle pass. What all that entails remains to be seen, but it seems fair to assume it will include loads of cosmetics. You have all the characters are either a scorer, a blocker, or a booster. They have different abilities based on that. And then the characters themselves also have unique abilities based on simply the characters. Comes out April 20th. No, a beta kicks off April 20th. Through the 24th if you pre-order. The game itself, I don't know if they've put a release date for it, but it seems these days the betas aren't really betas. They're just kind of working on betas. I imagine it'll be soon. So Joe, there you go, June 20th. So a month later. So let me just talk about this briefly because I think this is stupid. I mean, look, this game, I love Toys for Bob. This has been developed by Toys for Bob, who've made the best Crash game of all time, Crash 4. I'm sure it will be a phenomenally produced game. It may even be a great deal of fun. And I know this has been in production and been on the books for a long time. Games don't get made overnight, obviously, so maybe they got too late to turn this around. But charging $30 for this is ridiculous. Not because it may or may not be worth it, but because this is, you know, these days, especially like what you were talking about with, Fortnite Creative 2.0 and what's happening with Roblox and what's happening with Microsoft's, what's called Xbox Halo Infinite Forge. It took a while to get there, Jeffy, I know. You know, this is like a mode you should try somewhere and see if it's fun, and then if it is, you sort of build on it, and like Dota started or something. I'm gonna pay $30 for fucking this. I'm not gonna pay $30 for fucking this goddamn copy of the game. Why would I do that? It'll probably be on PS Plus or Game Pass. Probably, well, definitely be on Game Pass once the deal goes through. But I another one that is launching today. Oh shh. Yeah. Nobody can hear me. Sorry about that. I wasn't looking at the chat. I was trying to, whatever. Whatever. Fuck you. Here's the point about this particular game. This is dumb, right? The game is probably going to be great because and if I'm repeating myself and you heard me, sorry, but I want to get this out. Up and out, says a therapist. I think the game, because it's Toys for Bob, made the best Crash ever, Crash 4. It's going to be a great game. It may not be tons of fun and sticky, but it's going to be very well made and at least fun in spurts. These guys know what they're doing over there. But that aside, though, charging money for this is idiotic. And they may have just been too deep into production to go, we have to charge for it. That was sort of how we budgeted this title. But this is like this is a mode. You can play a mode like this in Halo Forge, in Fortnite and Roblox. The idea of dropping $30 on a game with a single mode, those days are long fucking gone. And it kind of relates to what's happening today with this game. Today, Deceive Incorporated, Deceive, whatever the fuck it's called, has launched. And they're launching it for $20. Now, I played the open beta a couple of weeks ago, and I thought it was really cool. And if it was free, I would be jumping back in today, playing it because I liked it. But I'm not going to drop, I'm not going to drop $20 because it's just a fucking game mode in a shooter that someone can just remake somewhere else. The other part is I don't want to drop $20 if the goddamn thing's dead in a couple of months. So I'm not really sure. I think this is no longer long for the world. This idea of charging for primary multiplayer games. I think that ship has sailed quite some time ago. So we'll see how it does. But I think this would be a great game for Game Pass or PS Plus There's Sebastian Cooper. Thank you, buddy. Dropping a 5 spot for the old super chat. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. He doesn't say anything, but he's dropping some ducats, and I appreciate that, buddy. Thank you. The Crash Game says Rogue should be free to play. It feels like a competitor to something like Fall Guys. I'm going to put Sebastian's thing up there because I'm going to address him a little bit later in the show, but I don't want to do it right now. Hello, Game Vet. Yeah, it's a great point. It feels like something like Fall Guys, right? Right. They need to make it free to play, then drop characters as add-ons, right? Exactly. Absolutely. It's a great point. I mean, if somebody came out tomorrow, and I would be stunned if Fall Guys, in order to bring to people's attention and keep people coming in, didn't say, hey, we're adding a new mode that's exactly this. This fucking mode would totally fit. I mean, I know it's different because the Battle Royale, but I mean, you know, so what? Fortnite has lots of game modes now, and it started as a pure Battle Royale. This would be a mode in Fall Guys, and it would probably do well. This is bizarre. This is bizarrely off tune for Activision. That as much as I despise Bobby Kotick, they're a pretty smart company when it comes to data information in terms of releasing games and green lighting games and budgeting games based on the data they have. I don't know, unless they're looking at this and going, this is for kids and families, and they still will go to Walmart and pay $30. Maybe they have enough data to say this is the right route, but seems weird to me. Why not launch at price, then go free to play and make extra money? Says Jacob. I mean, that is a path, right? That is a sort of a waterfall solution. I think the biggest problem with launching paid and then going free to play, though, honestly, the game either works or it doesn't. And a number of games have done that, right? It's launched. I can't remember which is the last one. It may have been Knockout City, where you launch it and then it's like, oh, people love it. And then there's no stickiness, whether that's because of lack of content, frequent drops, or just because the game is great, but it's not sticky. You know, your mileage will vary based on the game. But they do that, then they drop free to play, and suddenly the numbers swell, and it's like, we're back. And then the numbers drop as fast as they ever came. Look at Multiverse, how Multiverse started free to play. Nobody's playing Multiverse anymore. 99% of the games my younger family members play are stuff like Fortnite and Fall Guys. The Crash game would last maybe hours or so, says Rogue Radical. That's a good point, too. Younger kids don't need to buy games anymore. You're right. They're always playing the Fortnite. You're right. Or the Fall Guys or whatnot. Okay. Anyway, there's your story on Crash the Bandicoot. Listen to this. Microsoft has had enough of your shit. And I don't disagree with Carlos, by the way, who's like, I'm sick of the acquisition shit. I know. But there is interesting diamonds to be mined that has nothing to do with whether they get this deal or not. For example, and I get Sony is saying this as a tactic. They don't really believe it, right? But they have said time and again, they have said, in fact, here's what they literally said about the power of Call of Duty when they were talking in 2019. Call of Duty is so popular, it influences users' choice of console. And its community of loyal users is entrenched enough that even if a competitor had the budget, which they do, to develop a similar product, it would not be able to rival it. Now, do I think Jim Ryan actually believes this? No, I don't. But, you know, it's his job to sort of play the victim, and he's playing the victim card very, very well. Microsoft's come out, though, and they said, you know what? This is a quote. I said this to the CMA today. Microsoft considers that a period of 10 years, it's a decade, is sufficient for Sony as a leading publisher and console platform to develop alternatives to Call of Duty, not just an alternative, plural, alternatives to Call of Duty. The 10-year term, they continue, will extend into the next console generation. Moreover, the practical effect of the remedy will go beyond that 10-year period, since games downloaded in the final year of the remedy can continue to be played for the lifetime of that console and beyond with backwards compatibility. In other words, Jim Ryan, stop your fucking crying, because nobody is buying this bullshit. The best thing Sony can do is say, you know what? Suck my dick, Microsoft. We have Bungie. We're going to fucking show you how to make a fucking shooter. You can take Call of Duty, you motherfucking idiots, and we're going to bring to bear our brilliant first-party teams, and we're going to fucking knock it out of the park. But I get that he doesn't want to say that to the fucking CMA people, because he wants them to think Sony's fucked without Call of Duty, because I'm sure they would like to keep it. Why not? Microsoft, says Eric, saying Sony should make their own Call of Duty and that 10 years is enough to make one is ironic, because where's Microsoft's? Yes, they bought it. They had to go buy the thing itself. They didn't try to make a Call of Duty. I guess they did with Halo. But just because, I've seen this argument today all over the internet responding to this. Just because Microsoft has purchased or will purchase Call of Duty doesn't negate what they're saying. I mean, one could argue that Microsoft had plenty of time to create software to ship with the Xbox Series X and S, but they simply couldn't because their management's incompetent, right? But that, and that would be true, but it doesn't negate the fact that if Sony said, you guys had 10 years to prep software or 5 years to prep software for Series X launch day and you couldn't do it, that's more than enough time. Sony would be right. So both those things don't really negate each other, basically. Sony needs to buy the rights to Castlevania, says Poshi, so I can get a modern Symphony of the Night. I'll let them know. They have other things in mind, but I'll let them know Poshi wants what he wants. Just tell the fucking AI to do it. We're 5 years away from basically saying, give me a fucking updated Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Make the lead character, though, Keanu Reeves from the Coppola movie, Dracula, and I'll be back in an hour to play it. It better be fucking good. We're 5 years away from that. I'll show you some stuff at the end of the stream to kind of give you a little proof of that. I have a question, Jaffe. Isn't MLB The Show made by Sony? Why is it being released on Game Pass? It's being released on Game Pass because the Major League Baseball says to Sony, who had the exclusive license, we're not going to re-up with you guys. As much money as we make and you guys make off MLB, and as much as it's loved, we want it everywhere. We don't like that it's locked just to your console. So if you make it, it's got to be multi-console. And if not, we're going to take our toys and go home. And so Sony said, okay, we would rather not lose that, and so we'll allow it to be on other systems. That's exactly why. Legend says, instead of Sony swimming in that COD cash, they would have to pay out Microsoft for COD. Why would Sony want to do that? That's backwards. Sony's going to fight it to the end. Oh, yeah, they're totally going to fight it, and they should fight it. But it's just important. It's important to recognize that, fighting it using tactics is one thing, but those tactics aren't really true when it comes to this story. Because Sony could wipe the floor with Call of Duty in terms of a product. Now, whether or not it outsells it, different topic. But it'll certainly be profitable. Come on now. I think the biggest challenge Sony would have in trying to make Call of Duty is pulling their creativity back from it. because I think one of the weakest things that Sony does is they need to read the market a little better when it comes to more mainstream sensibilities. Like I think Factions is going to do great. But if you're just going to make a Call of Duty competitor, don't give it fucking special superpowers and, don't set it in some quirky, weird IP. Just fucking make a military fucking shooter, and just go for it, right? In that line, don't make it all creative and shit. Sebastian Cooper, we have to talk. He just joined the Diet Soda Soldiers. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. You and I have issues, sir. You and I have issues, and we will talk about them in this very stream. But for now, allow me to say thank you for your support. I see you, I recognize you, and I appreciate the subscription. Thank you, buddy. And we'll get to my thoughts about your recent ramblings on the comment page later in the show. But anyway, there's your story for Call of Duty. Well, yeah, Eric, that's fine, though. Eric says they tried with MAG and it flopped. So what? Try again. I mean, there's zero doubt that military shooters aren't going anywhere. Or they're here to stay. So just because, that game flopped doesn't mean they shouldn't do it again. They have Bungie now. They have Naughty Dog now. And yes, I agree with Masochista. MAG was clearly ahead of its time. I want them to expand on taking care of your community features in The Last of Us multiplayer, says Legends. I'm sure they will. I mean, it's a service game, so I'm sure they'll have plenty of time, because that's probably, a big anchor in their service-based game portfolio. So I'm sure they're going to give it plenty of fucking time to get it right they're not going to cancel it like Drawn to Death. Because it'll be better than Drawn to Death, of course, and more popular, but also because I think they know they have to make it work. And some of these service games take a while. Okay. Listen to this, though. This is interesting. I was one of the people over the weekend who played the Diablo beta. I loved it. Started off slow and didn't like that, but once it got rolling, I loved it. A million people played it this weekend. It's coming again Friday, and it's going to be more than a million people, because this last weekend you had to sort of go in on the KFC deal, or you have to have pre-ordered the game. And I did the pre-order. But this Friday at 9 a.m. it goes live over the weekend for everyone. And I want to make sure you know this. If you get your character up to level 20, and I think my character bottomed out or finished up at level 23. I was not able to max out. I just didn't have the time. You get yourself a wolf puppy cub whatever backpack. Now, this is a game that's seen from up here. You're not going to notice it, but most of the stats aren't carrying over. In fact, none of the stats are carrying over from the beta. But if you make it to level 20 before this Sunday night or Monday at noon, you get yourself a little puppy. Rob says, I got my puppy. Yeah, but it doesn't go live yet, does it? Like, I know I got mine because I'm level 23, but what do you have to do to get it? But anyway, I'm letting you know that. The other thing that's really interesting is Eurogamer, Astro Cyborg got your Barbarian to 25. I got my Barbarian to 23. And then I took too long. You're playing Diablo 2 right now, Mute Mo. Yeah, it's great. You get it when the game releases, says Zandatsu. I haven't touched Diablo 4, says Morgan. Morgan, are you just in a mood today? Is there anything you like? Is anything happening in the world, Morgan, that we can help you with that you like while we're waiting? And I want to tell you about this story from Eurogamer because it's really interesting. But I do want to mention briefly, if you're out there watching the show, I don't know. I say this from time to time. It's important to reiterate. I know there's a lot of people out there dealing with depression and isolation and loneliness and neurodiversion, all kinds of shit. And I appreciate you being here. I can't solve your problems. The chat can't solve your problems. But there are solves, there's medicine, there's therapy, there's friends. And I just want you to know, I appreciate you hanging in there. I know it's a beast. I know it's a bear. I've had people in my life deal with it in an incredibly severe way. And I've seen them come out the other side when I thought there was no hope. And I sure am glad you're hanging in there. So, Douglas Monroe, you are going to be talked about a little bit later in today's show. I have you lined up. Buddy. When you hit 20, it unlocks the challenge completed, says Rob, regarding Diablo. I got you. Okay. Okay. So Eurogamer goes out and they speak with Rob Ferguson and the game director Joe Shelley for Diablo 4. I just want to give you some interesting quotes from this interview because it was pretty interesting to me. Rob Ferguson says he gets asked, how was the beta? How did it go for you? Was it successful? He says the beta is a twisted word that has become marketing beta, which means demo. It's true. But for us, he says this was a true beta because we wanted to be able to test the load and what does it mean to get a lot of players in. Friday was a little bumpy because of that, but the way we looked at the issues is we fix now so it's smoother at launch. And the weekend was to prepare for next weekend, and the next weekend prepares for launch. And if you saw the beta, it really did get walloped on Friday. Queue times were obscene. But by Friday night, Saturday morning, it was absolutely, totally fine. Totally fine. So I think it did well. He says we had goals around how many people were going to be playing because they really wanted to test the servers. We exceeded the number of players we thought we were going to get. He doesn't know the final numbers of people who played, but he had well over 1 million people playing over the weekend, which is great. This coming weekend, as I said earlier, there are no restrictions. If you want to play, you should play because it's really fucking good. PlayStation, Xbox, PC, he says all the supported platforms, anybody who wants to play will be able to play. So get in there if you're interested, if you're curious. He also said there were a number of people. Well, okay, I didn't see either of these. I didn't see the Butcher and I didn't see the Treasure Goblin. But apparently the Butcher from Diablo 2, I think, shows up semi-randomly and fucks shit up. Just like the Treasure Goblin shows up and tries to steal the loot, right? I like this philosophy of design, though. Joe Shelley says, one of the things that can be really fun is changing up the player's goal at any given moment. It's actually one of the reasons I like the Exo Primal beta so much, too, this weekend. And the Treasure Goblin does that by running off with a pile of loot that you want, so you're likely to opt into the extra danger to get it. And the Butcher does that by ambushing you and creating a situation where you're likely to run and potentially run into other danger. So broadly speaking, in Diablo 4, we're looking for other ways to add that kind of gameplay that changes players' experiences on the fly. I dug that. I love that idea. Because, yeah, if you watch, and I have, if you watch somebody fight the Butcher, it's not part of your mission. Your mission might be to, destroy 3 skeleton altars in this dungeon and free the spirit of a dead kid. But suddenly, this thing that has nothing to do with the story you're following totally shits the bed, and you have to deal with it in real time. It's pretty cool. I like that kind of real-time video game designer, director pulling the strings, almost like, when you watch the Hunger Games and there were all the people, at the boards going, let's make this different. Let's make this different. And it made it better. I love that. I got crazy loot from the Treasure Goblin, says Rob. Didn't see him. Lutron says, I'm playing Darksiders Genesis for my Diablo fix. I will tell you, I do think Darksiders Genesis controls better than Diablo. I never finished it, no shit, but I loved it. And it's super smooth controlling. Morgan says, are you guys excited for Atlas Fallen? I'm really kind of not, because I was excited before, and then I saw a preview today. It's coming out on Game Pass, I think, day 1. And it looks, you're right. It looks a lot like Forspoken, which I didn't have a problem with, but I don't want to jump back into that kind of game. Rogue says, I enjoy active modifiers or wild elements within games that change dynamics. Me too. Okay. And they are saying that they'll have more things like the Butcher and the Troll, the Loot Goblin in the future. The other thing I wanted to touch on, because I heard a lot of people saying, oh, the sorcerer is way too overpowered and the barbarian shit. And they talked about this. If you go to Eurogamer, you can read the whole article. They do a deep dive. But I actually really like this. This is what they said. They said, there are no classes that are only for really skilled people in this game. When you see that campfire lineup, meaning when you choose your character, they're all sitting around a campfire. He says it's not just mechanics you're choosing. It's also the class fantasy. So if you have, for example, a fantasy of being a rogue, we don't want you to pick rogue because you think that character looks cool. And then you come back to us and say, oh, that's only for people who have 60 hours of Diablo experience. You're not good enough yet, right? I like that. And I like when they're explaining, you know, none of the, obviously there's going to be balancing work to do in Diablo 4, but none of the characters are poorly balanced at a big level. It's just that what people have played, they're like, the barbarian has more weapons than anyone else, but you really can't take full advantage of that until you get out of a lot of the areas that were locked in for the demo. This is what Rob says. Rod Ferguson says, he says, the thing can't be overlooked is you're only getting to play the first 25 levels, meaning the character level. And the classes don't stay balanced with every level change. The barbarian is a really great example. He has the most weapons, and because of that, they have the most equipment slots of any character, which means they could have the most legendary affixes. So once you get all the legendaries, the barbarian is super strong because it's got 2 extra legendary affixes the other characters don't have. But you're not going to get the legendaries until you're well beyond level 25. So it's if you're interested in game design and why choices get made and stuff, this is a really good interview over at Eurogamer. There's a lot more to it, but I highly recommend checking it out. Okay, give me a second. Give me a second. I have to settle. I have to meditate for a second. We're going to move on to the next part of the show. First, I'll get Monster. Thank you, buddy. He's been a member for 7 months. I appreciate that. He says, wishing y'all all the best. Sir Jaffe, we got to get in on some Snap. Wish the Discord section could be a little more lively. I'll play some fucking Snap. Are you Gun? Are you Gun? Because I can't beat Gun. But yeah, I'll play some fucking Snap with you guys. Thank you for that, though. Thank you for the support, buddy. I appreciate it. All right, let me meditate for like 5 seconds. Let me just focus on my breath. Come on now. Most people take breaks. Not me. I just meditate. Amazing. It's an amazing gift to the world. Okay. Let's begin. This was an okay, first let's be clear. Last week, Wulong Fallen Dynasty came out across the systems, came out on Game Pass day 1. I didn't know this, so I want to share this with you first. Wulong basically had, using true achievements, 85,000 track players. Elden Ring only had 76,000, right? So this is an article about the power of Game Pass and giving people an opportunity to play things they normally wouldn't. The article goes on, this is trueachievements.com, wondering how Wulong might have done without Game Pass. We don't need to deal in hypotheticals since sister site True Trophies also runs its own PlayStation gameplay chart we can look at. Our chart, meaning the Xbox chart, saw Wulong come in just outside the top 5 in its first full week at number 6 in terms of track players. PlayStation, it came in at 25th. Quite the difference, right? I bring it up only because there was a neat article, and I don't know how to feel about it. I don't know what to do with this data, but I think it's in the same way that I was talking about Victor Lucas's tweet about subscription services forcing the opening of games to be more engaging. I think subscription services are also going to have to deal with this conundrum in some way. which is the headline of the article by Dom Pepiat, is one of 2023's best games is already being forgotten, even though it's on Game Pass. And he goes on to talk about how the game swelled the first week, the first 4 days, everyone was talking about it. Then he says, not a week later, the conversation died down and I'm seeing fewer real player graves populating the Wulong levels as there were at launch, meaning that it's like if you die, the network recognizes it, I guess, and lets people know. Such is the curse of the Game Pass monster of the week. This isn't a criticism, far from it. Looking at data, the player count for Wulong was considerably ahead of Elden Ring and just shy of matching the first week of every Dark Souls game combined. But the problem is, according to him, are these games that eventually have a long tail and it works out? Are these games that if you don't get in the first week, 90% of the magic of being on Game Pass is lost? Like I'm very curious to see data from PS Plus and Game Pass specifically about what happens when a game, the honeymoon phase is over. How often, like what are the games that people come back to that aren't the service-based games like Halo? Like, are people still coming back and spending meaningful time with, I'm trying to think, with Hi-Fi Rush? Obviously it's going to be less, but is it like, yeah, but that's a game that, every week we still see a solid 5,000 new players coming in. Like I remember the one I remember the most, Twisted Metal 2, that motherfucking game every single week, well into the PS3 life cycle, would sell 2,000 copies a week, well after 1996 when it came out, right? So I'm wondering how this is going to affect design, how it's going to affect the business model, because this is a really interesting point that I haven't heard a lot of people talking about, which is, yeah, once you kind of lose that spotlight from Game Pass, is it over? I don't know. Masochista says, I have Game Pass, but I didn't even bother because I know I'm not going to play to completion. I played the demo and I love the fucking demo, but there's just too much to play. And so it's kind of down there for me on, like, I'll get to it maybe. Wulong and like Atomic Heart. I love Atomic Heart, but I haven't finished it. I don't know how far I am into it, but I haven't finished it, but I want to. Eric Lennon says Wulong is too bloated. It doesn't have enough variety to sustain its length. Neho suffered from the exact problem. I never finished any of them, but loved them. Yeah, that is a big problem. Absolutely. Doesn't sound like a Game Pass consumer problem. Well, it is a Game Pass consumer problem because ultimately, if Game Pass comes to a conclusion that certain kinds of games don't work on the service, that will affect what gets greenlight. Just like if Game Pass says, hey, if you want to do well, you got to really make sure your opening isn't slow and dull, right? I mean, there are things that, the business model affects everything. The thing that always drives me crazy is when people talk about games of yesteryear and they're like, now games are all driven by money and games are all driven by the business model. And all. It's like they've always been driven by that. Every piece of commercial product, entertainment for sure, is driven by the business model. It's just that you didn't recognize it as much, but that's never gone away. That's not a new thing. But certainly Game Pass and what it is will affect the way people design video games. I think it's fascinating. I think it's absolutely fascinating. Kratos says eventually you'll need a new list of games to keep people paying into a sub. I had Netflix 5 years ago, went back on it a year ago. I only stayed a month. Right. No, that's the whole idea is you need the variety. Eddie J, thank you for being a member for 18 months, buddy. He says, Jaffe, have you seen Tony Todd's tweet about Spider-Man 2? Keep up the greatness. I have not only seen it, but we talked about it earlier in the show. So rewind back and check it out. Right at the top of the show, maybe about 20 minutes into the show, we got into a discussion about that. Zachary Henriksen, thank you, buddy, has subscribed to the show. I appreciate that, buddy. Okay. In just a second, we're going to talk about why video game developers think you guys are stupid. After that, we have some more news. I do want to talk about Sebastian Cooper a little bit. I do want to get to the comment about survival horror from good sir. Where did I put it? I put it somewhere over here. From good sir Dougie Monroe. So we'll get to that. But before we get to that, I do want to bring a couple things briefly to your attention. Number one, Day One Patch Kids. Now I got myself a Day One Patch Kid Sweet Tooth shirt. It's coming in the mail, I think, in a couple days. If you don't know, Day One Patch Kids is one of our sponsors. I love this stuff. There's new designs over there now. You got a Ninja Gaiden Cage Tail, Dino Crisis character, Gina, Rowdy Rhodes from, is it Streets of Rage? What were the two? Streets of Rage was one of them. And then there was the other one. But I think this is Streets of Rage. Zombie Zab, Soloer, J-Lo, they're all in there. They're all there for you. They can be on stickers, shirts, clocks, shower curtains, coloring book. The new coloring book is fantastic. I have a copy of it somewhere over here. There's Joel in One, my favorite. This is coming on the sweatshirt. Check out dayonePatchKids.com. You think that's not Double Dragon, Final Fight, but this is probably Streets of Rage, right? But it was Final Fight. You're right. You're absolutely right. But check out dayonePatchKids.com. It's really good stuff. I am so wanting a plushie of one of these guys. I love these guys, but going over there to Ron Tanuki, give him a pickle tickle. The other thing, I want to show you. Yeah, Mutant Mode, the Joel in One is brilliant. It really is. They should have these as crew t-shirts for The Last of Us Part 2 HBO show. I know I talk about the Elitist podcast a lot. It's because I really like it. I reached out to them yesterday. I said we should get a contest going so a Gabbin and Game member can go on the show, because it's really fun to actually be on the show as well. But I want to show you something they sent me. There's a new game they're playing. I'm not putting anybody on a wheel. I'm not doing any of that today. I just want to show you this because it's really cool. Let me bring it up. So I'm just going to play a very quick snippet of a song. This is their new game they're running on their show, basically. Spazbo was on the show recently. I'm sure he can attest. It was a lot of fun. Their new game is they're mixing up movie and video game music. And tell me if you can guess the television show and the video game mashup. I want to see who the first one is who can get this. Here we go. Anybody? You got to get both. You got to get both. I'll do it one more time. You got to get both of these. It's a TV show and it's a video game. It's not Pokemon, but you're absolutely right on Sopranos. All right. Yes, Jacob Martin. That's right. It's Legend of Zelda mashed up with Sopranos. Rob the Mod got them both together. There you go. I'll do one more for you. Going over to the Elitist podcast, though, it's really... Now, this is for old people or people who watch Me TV. I have no idea if anyone is going to know this one, but I adore this one. Here we go. Come on. Okay, but you can't just give me one of the things. What are the two things that they're mixing together? Everybody's got the answer, but no one's got the answer where they mix it together. You got to mix it together. That's the whole idea. All right, I'll give it. Yeah, Lutron got it. Lutron got it. It's Sanford and Son and Metroid. There you go. So if you like games like this, if you like having your brain tickled like this, I don't fucking blame you. It's a good time. Go on over to the Elitist Podcast and see if you can beat them at their own fucking games. It's fun goddamn cockadoodie time. All right. I want to talk about Lamont, you big dummy, says Zeke. You goddamn right. You goddamn right. There was an article on Kotaku that said this. Resident Evil Remake has devs explaining why games make things extremely obvious. Okay. So what they're talking about here, but it isn't, to me, as a past developer, it's a fascinating topic. What they're talking about as it pertains to RE is all of the crates and things that you could break that actually gave you some kind of gameplay benefit, usually an item or an exit from a house or something, had kind of this yellow X on it. Okay. And I guess people were kind of annoyed. This pissed off an opinionated fan who said this needs to end. And then the article goes on, this is Kotaku, to talk about gamers ultimately saying when all this obvious shit happens, you either go, wow, that was helpful, or more often than not, does the developer think I'm an idiot? Right. And then what was really interesting about this was it had a number of developers kind of writing in about their experiences with it. So let me be clear. I don't think most game developers think you as a human individual are morons, are dumb. But I absolutely understand the challenge, because until we get to a point, we're getting there, where the AI is making some adjustments around you based on the play style, you're going to have to try to please everybody. And in pleasing everybody, you end up with shit like this, right? Here's a great example. This is who tweeted this out? I think this was a developer said, this was Chet Felesek from Half-Life Portal and Left 4 Dead. He says, Elden Ring literally opens with an NPC telling you where to go, and that was not enough. Oh, this is an indie game designer, sorry. Referring to popular debate last year over whether FromSoft was obligated to make the tutorial entrance obvious. So a lot of people skip the tutorial and then complain there was no tutorial. The Chet guy says, this is a problem. Someone has never sat in on and observed a playtest, he said. It's funny watching the progression of Left 4 Dead mod community maps on the path. Eventually they break down and just put a sign, a safe room, and an arrow. Another game developer said, a level designer for Watchdog Legions said, it's either this or the glow. And I promise you, when us game developers see playtests, people skip over environmentally realistic props. Unless you guys want a button prompt to look at lootables every time you enter a room, learn to live with the yellow marks, right? And then they go on and on and on. So it's not a lie. You want the most challenging part of working in games is making calls based on people that you don't really know how they're going to respond to things. And so when you sit in a focus test, a play test, very different from a focus test, you want to fucking jump out the window because you're like, oh my God, we've made it so fucking obvious. But I can tell you, man, and it was one of the reasons that title was a hit. Every time we had play tests that ran hours, every single one of those was videotaped. It was back in the day for God of War. I would take those tapes home, and I would watch them all and take notes. And I would come in Monday morning with a batch of notes going, these are the priorities. We have to fix these. And every time we made those fixes, the game got better. The scores got better, right? This guy who is a lead designer on BioShock, this is interesting to me. I have had something similar to this. Bill Gardner faced a different problem on BioShock. Playtesters were approaching the game thinking it was similar to Half-Life, and so they went in with guns blazing. When you put yourself when you put yourself out there and do something different, you have to go to great lengths to make sure what you're doing is 100% clear, right? Totally fucking true. Because look, I'll tell you, here's two examples. What you're looking at here is the show floor of E3, I want to say 1997. And if you squint, you can kind of see it's the Nintendo booth and you can kind of see GoldenEye. This was the first time GoldenEye was at E3. First time ever playable. And it was, other than Thief, and Thief presents itself as a stealth game out, you know what you're getting into. GoldenEye looks like an action movie. It's based on an action movie. It looks like James Bond at the time meets Quake. And so I walked up to the booth and I played it and I hated it because I was like, what the fuck? I can't shoot anybody. I can't kill anybody. They're all killing me, you know? And it wasn't until I talked to some friends on the show floor and they said, you got to go back and play it. It's got more Metal Gear stealth to it than you expect. But the game didn't do a very good, they were fine. Trust me. The reviews helped and gamers back then weren't as picky. And it's a brilliant game. I'm not knocking the game, but the game didn't explain that. And for its time, it wasn't intuitive to assume, oh, I can hide from these guys or I can sneak up on these guys. And that is actually, or that they can hear my gunfire. When in the fuck, at that time you're running around Doom and Quake shooting. You're not like, oh shit, I don't want, the demon to hear me, at all. So the point being is it's not that gamers think you're stupid or game developers think you're stupid. It's that they can't, especially as budgets go up, they can't take the chance. I'll tell you an example I had personally, which was Drawn to Death, right? So Drawn to Death, I didn't see this coming, but Drawn to Death was meant to be a very long time to kill, like Twisted Metal, because I like that prolonged relationship between fighters in a single match. Whether that was a good idea or a bad idea is irrelevant, because the problem is, as goofy looking in a wonderful way, I love these characters, but as goofy as these characters looked style-wise, they were presenting as human, or mostly human. They were presenting as bipedal living humans that you would see in a shooter. And they were shooting each other, not with Nerf guns. They were shooting each other with traditional looking weapons, shotguns, and not all traditional, but a lot of traditional. And so it never occurred to me that the player would go, why are these fuckers taking way too long to kill? This doesn't make any sense. I'm unloading 2 loads worth of shotgun into this guy and he's still alive. And so if I were to do it again, I don't know what I would do. I would probably encase them in armor, or I would not make them people. Or make them really armored robots that you peel off as you damage them, because presenting them like this, we lost probably 30% at least of our players who came in and said, fuck this time to kill. This doesn't make any sense. But I assure you, if they were playing World of Tanks, they wouldn't be like, what the fuck? I hit him with 2 shots and the tank's still there. So all I can tell you is, it to me as a one-time developer, this whole topic is fascinating. I think it's a problem that AI is going to solve for itself and for us. But until that happens, it really is. I mean, hell, you heard the God of War Ragnarok team. They basically said, we didn't know that the AI people spoke too quickly and gave hints away too quickly because it never came up in playtest. You just don't know. You have to guess. You have to fucking guess. Okay. In the upcoming Dead Island 2, says Masochista, I like how the zombie falls apart after every hit. That kind of skinning or whatever they call it, where you literally rip the flesh off their bones, is pretty fucking cool. Or off their flesh, off their tendons, off their bones, whatever. You know what I'm saying. ACO7 says the new generation of gamers have no clue how great games used to be. They were brought up in the loot box MTX crap. That's age, man. Every generation thinks their shit was the best. A lot of it's nostalgia. There is some truth to it, but trust me, I know younger gamers that are obsessed with video games, and they're going to look back and have nostalgia for Fortnite and all that shit. So, Gravedigger says PS1 and early PS2 games basically had no markings for objects able to be interacted with. I personally prefer it's more immersive and cool. It is, and when you were a gamer, back then, like I remember the very first Twisted Metal, and we were like hoping, like if you sold 100,000 copies of a game on Super Nintendo, you were a hit. And we carried that same metric at Sony ImageSoft into Twisted Metal, and we're like, if we can just sell 100,000 copies. And we obviously went on to sell millions of copies of that game. But at the time, that 100,000 user base was so committed to the hobby that, you know, it's a lot of the people who yell at me about Metroid and going, well, that's the staple and all this shit. It's like, dude, you know, there were a lot of things that people got away with on the development side that we didn't have to worry about because, you know, it's kind of like bringing, a dyed-in-the-wool fan of a comedian to a live concert. They're going to laugh anyway because they just love the guy, right? But that's a small super audience, right? If you really want to go out there and make the numbers that you got to make, you got to, you know, accept that most of these people who are playing games are not playing them like you are, you know, and that's the indie space these days. If you want that, it exists, but it's not existing in these big games anymore. Okay. So I see that, let me get a couple of these real quick. I'm not ignoring you guys. I wanted to make sure I got to that topic because we couldn't talk about it yesterday. Marco, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. He put a sticker that says vibes. Thank you, sir. Thank you very, very much. Makez, thank you for subbing. I appreciate that. Good to see you, sir. Mike McGeehee, my good friend Mike McGeehee is like, Jaffe, I want to call in. Sure. Put yourself in the call-in waiting room in the Discord, and I will bring you on when I see you in there. Okay. Give me 1 second. Let's see where we're going to go. Games are still great. Games are fucking awesome. I don't think games have ever been better because, again, though, I play everything. Carlos, thank you, buddy. 19 months. I appreciate that, good sir. He says, can we really trust an ex-Sony dev to tell us gamers we are wrong? Oh, yeah. You're always wrong. I'm always right. Absolutely true. Thank you, buddy, for the support. You know, I appreciate it. ACO says, it's all truth, Jaffe. You know, games back then were completed, finished games. Today, the games are half-baked and the PC guys have to mod the devs. That's not true. That's simply 100% not accurate. Okay? Devs are working as hard as they ever have. Okay? If you're talking about a really expensive game, that's one of the reasons I was telling, I think it was on Destin's show. If I were to get back into gaming or I were to start in gaming, I would probably start in AA and indie and I would stay there because there are so many fucking cooks in the kitchen now. And that's not necessarily always bad, but you have to please so many people when your budgets are north of $200 million fucking dollars. Right? I mean, you can't make a game that is as, odd as a lot of the games back then that you solve by, running to the internet. Now, and this is interesting. This Kotaku article brings this up though. It brings up, Elden Ring. Okay. And it says, even people who hate or gamers who hate all this, on the nose posting, have a reason to rejoice. Elden Ring, which certainly doesn't do much signposting, sold extraordinarily well, and plenty of gamers have shown they can enjoy a game without being told exactly what to do. I would disagree with that statement. Miyazaki, the director and lead designer of that game, has said, I think he was talking about when he changed a tire and someone helped him change a tire. That is sort of the philosophy foundation of all of his multiplayer decisions, which is he wants people to reach out and use the internet, and he wants people to talk, and he wants people to go, hey, did you know if you want this, what do they call them? Glowwort, ghostly, whatever, all these weird little fucking things. If you want that, here's how you get to this area where there's like 3 of them hidden all together. The vast majority of people I know, when they help me play Elden Ring, I go, how did you know that? There are very few who say, oh, I just did it. Most of them are like, oh, I had to look that up, or I talked to my friend, or this, that, and the other. So even though Elden Ring doesn't signpost literally, although they kind of do with the network messages within reason, it is designed, according to the director, to be confusing because he wants you to reach out and talk to people. So this is what I'd say. This is what I'd fucking say. How much did Elden Ring cost? I have no clue. It's a great question. It certainly was more than 20 million. Certainly more. Water Princess says, but someone had to figure it out. I don't think there's anything inherently hard to figure out, but for one person or for most gamers to just get in and do it all, you're going to find stuff intentionally and by accident, and that sort of feeds into the community, basically. Will AI make it cheaper to make games? Yes, 100%. Whether or not ultimately, yes, it will make it way cheaper, 100%. And it will make it cheaper immediately now, creating assets for it. But we're a way for, we're a long way, not a long way, but we're not immediately going to be, make me the Ellie character, make sure she's rigged, make sure she has red hair instead of brown hair. Eventually we'll get there, but we're not there yet. And so costs are still going to keep going up. I'll show you some of that at the end of the stream, actually. Okay, let me bring in Mike McGeehee real quick, and then here's what we're gonna do. Here's the order. Let me check if I have any more news I really want to get to today. I do want to tell you a couple things, and then I'll get to Mike McGeehee. Then I'm gonna read Monroe's survival horror question from the chat. And then we'll bring on Sebastian Cooper. And I don't know how that conversation is going to go, but we'll bring him on and see what he has to say. I want to let you know, number one, if you want to vote on the Strong National Museum of Play Hall of Fame. They've been doing this since, I think, 2016. There's what's in it already. Halo, Flight Sim, Street Fighter 2, all these games you're seeing scroll by on your screen. These have all been inducted into the Video Game Hall of Fame. The Strong Museum, National Museum of Play, I want to say it's in Pittsburgh. I'm not sure where it is. I've never been there. I really want to go there. They have great exhibits all about games, game design docs, all kinds of toys. It's a very, very fucking cool place. But they've put out the list of this year's Video Game Hall of Fame. And you can vote on it if you want. Okay, it's in Rochester, New York. There you go. So these are the games that are up for 2023. Age of Empires, Angry Birds, Barbie Fashion Designer, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. There's more. There's like 9 of them. Where are the rest of them? Oh, here we go. View all finalists. All right. Age of Empires, Angry Birds, Barbie Fashion, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, Computer Space, FIFA, GoldenEye, The Last of Us, Wizardry, Wii Sports, Quake, NBA 2K. 90% of these should just be there. I'm not sure if they actually have only a couple that can get in, But if you want to go onto this site, it's museumofplay.org. You can go and you can vote to help your favorites get ushered in. The fact that Wizardry, Wii Sports, GoldenEye, FIFA, Computer Space, Angry Birds, and Call of Duty 4 should be on there without question. But I absolutely recommend going over there and let your voice be heard. Listen to this. I played the beta of this. This is Disney's version of Mario Kart. This is on Polygon. What they're asking money-wise is ridiculous. But it's a free-to-play game, and if you pre-order it, and the pre-order prices are ludicrous, you can get open beta in April, and I think the game comes out maybe in June or something. This game is really fucking great. I played the beta a while ago, and it's just fun. It controls really cool. It's a lot of fun. It's really engaging. I think it's going to do pretty fucking well. And I love that it's Disney, right? Because they don't just have Mickey and Donald. They have characters like the Mulan character and Belle from Beauty and the Beast. Then they have live action characters like Jack Sparrow, right? So I'm hoping we start getting into some Star Wars shit, some indie shit, some Marvel shit. And it's just their big, can you imagine Marvel character kart racing? It's really good. I highly recommend it. But look at the prices for this. You want to pre-order a free-to-play game, you get early access and some skins and some other bullshit. The cost of this, $30 for the basic one, $50 for the deluxe one, and $70 just for some fucking skins and tokens, and go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. But this is great. Also, Lego has announced this Friday, 2K is going to come out with the details that leaked a little early. But there is a Lego Mario Kart style game coming out where you also can build your own cars. They've taken down a lot of these screenshots you see right now. So let me refresh. These may all be gone, but it looks, it looks really fun. I like kart racing games. I like arcade racing games. I love Lego. I love that you can build your own car. This will have weapons like Mario Kart. I'm assuming, well, Disney does have weapons. I don't like the weapons much in Disney racing, but they've listed a bunch of the weapons these guys will have. It looks pretty fucking good. And I like they're going after Mario Kart. So just giving you a heads up, that's coming down the line. Is there anything else I want to get with you guys? I want to just tell you, I told you Deceive Inc. is out today. All of the PlayStation game catalog stuff is out today. Uncharted Legacy of Thieves, Ghostwire Tokyo with new levels and new abilities. Immortal Phoenix Rising, great game. Rainbow Six Extraction, which is Rainbow Six with zombies. I think it's all co-op, right? I would like to play that with some people. If you're interested and you're a member, hit me up in the show. In the Discord. I would like to get a game night going. And then obviously Chia, which is the game about the little girl. I played about an hour of it today, and it's really good. I mean, I don't know how much I'll stick with it, but I will tell you that the opening, like we talked about this before, like, oh, Jeff, you just have ADD. You don't like slow openings, or the opening is super slow, but it's so beautiful and so interesting and so engaging. I don't know if it's going to be a game that I spend meaningful time with, but right now what I tweeted was it feels like a warm blanket. It's just such a genuinely sweet, cozy, nurturing game, and I highly recommend it. That's out now on one of the tiers at Game Pass or PS Plus. Don't fucking ask me which one. I think that's premium and extra is what that is. Also, Marvel, which I got to go back to this game. I love this game. I haven't finished it. Drops their third DLC today, Morbius. I know. Deadpool Venom already out. Morbius is now out. You have to buy it in the pack season pass. But Morbius is out today for that. This Friday, Storyteller from Annapurna drops. Now, this is going to make a lot of you people who hate indie games go, who gives a shit? Fine, go fuck yourself. This game is a Game of the Year contender. The demo was amazing. It literally is just you get this prompt, seeing the ghost of a lover, and then you get a bunch of little pieces down here. And you have to put pieces, you can arrange it however you want. It'll change the story. But you have to express seeing the ghost of a lover. And it gets more and more challenging. It is very good. It is very clever. And the Queen marries a fearsome dragon, right? I mean, that's your prompt. And then you've got to figure out how to create all of that. They're like verbs and nouns and proper nouns. And I will be playing it on stream. It comes out this Friday. Highly, highly recommended. It's very creative, very clever. It's good people. Okay, here's what we're going to do for the rest of the show. I am going to take Mike McGeehee's call if he's there. I don't know if he's still there because I know I kept him hanging, but that's the show. But I'm here for you if you want to call in, Mike, on the Discord. Then I am going to get to Dougie Monroe's comment about survival horror. And then I will talk to Sebastian Cooper. PK77 says Jaffe likes Chia but hates open world Zelda. Jaffe hates Nintendo for some reason. Bukaki, thank you, buddy. He says he'd talk to you in the next show. Okay. Sorry, Mike McGeehee. Chia so far doesn't feel like open world Zelda. It may end up being that, and then I won't like it anymore. But so far, it has a much different feel to it. You know, I'm not having to worry about weapons and breaking weapons and solving shrines and all. It's not that kind of feel to it. It's much more just, it's like the video game version of a Jimmy Buffett song, I guess I would say, if you know who that is. And Sony didn't make this game. I know they're putting it out day one, but it's made by a indie developer. I don't know if it's a Sony exclusive or just a Sony day one drop, but it's not made by Sony internal. There is a Game Awards Thursday. We are streaming it Thursday at 6:30. Yeah, Mutemo gets it. Goddamn right. Okay, so here's what Dougie Monroe wrote. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but he was reaching out because we were talking about Resident Evil 4, and he's a big classic RE4 fan or Resident Evil fan. I'm not going to, he says in his thing is this can be up to a half hour to an hour long topic. No, it can't. Not for me. I have ADD, man. But he says with the release of RE4 coming up and Dead Space already out, I think it's important. So if you aren't aware, when we discuss our favorite horror games, they always evolve in a new direction, like leaning away from its original roots. Survival horror turns into action. Dead Space is known for this as well, certainly when they got to 3, not just Resident Evil. We know that if devs do the same thing with their games over and over, it's very played out like Call of Duty, which doesn't seem to affect sales. It doesn't innovate the series forward. This applies to God of War, even though technically doesn't count as a horror game. Okay. So there's an Avalanche review site that he's friends with, and Dougie Monroe says he stigmatizes survival horror as a game with tank controls and has more of a focus on puzzles, item management, and key exploration. Now the perspective is subjective, but I kind of see what he means about the rest of it. RE4 being a great game, and it's not survival horror, no matter how the media tells you it is. So I guess the core question is, he says, I want to hear your thoughts. Do you think RE4 is survival horror, or can you see why people may not see it that way? Hopefully this gives you material. So here's what I would say. Here's what I would say about it. Number one is it doesn't matter, right? These are phrases or names that have been created, and it's irrelevant if you think or I think Resident Evil 4 is survival horror or not. Do I agree with you that there may be value in sort of a vernacular where people can understand the difference between a Dead Space kind of horror game and a game like, what was the one that came out last year? I always forget the title, terrible title. It was very old school Resident Evil. Where the lady's in the bathtub and there's all those weird mechanical puppets chasing her around and shit. What the fuck was that game? But anyway, that, there's a lot of puzzles, and that was very much in the vein of like Clock Tower or original Resident Evil, Tormented Souls. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That's what it was. Thank you, fellas. So yeah, those are different kinds of games. Those are different templates. But, okay, so what does it matter, right? I mean, unless you're just talking about, I want to know what I'm getting when I buy a game. And I don't think people are confused. I don't think anybody bought Resident Evil 4 and we're like, what? Where are the tank controls, right? So I guess my answer is I don't think it matters. I don't really care. I will tell you though that then you can get into a deeper discussion about it, which, there are some people on the YouTubes and stuff that dive into horror seriously. But what's really interesting is even Resident Evil, to call it horror, I'm not saying it's not horror, but I've played a lot of games that are scarier than Resident Evil that don't have the trappings of horror at all, but the sense of anxiety and fear that a game evokes, even whether it's a shooter and I'm hiding, whether it's a round of Marvel Snap and I've got one Marvel Snap battle and I've lost 3 and I've got one little sliver of life left, and every card I play is life or death if I'm going to survive it. The feeling of horror that you get when a movie is scary or a book or whatever is more often than not evoked in video games through mechanics that are not associated thematically with horror at all. And so I think it is horror. Ravno says, that's not horror, you goof. What I'm saying, it's a deeper conversation. If you're talking about the subject matter of the video game, of course it's not horror. But I would argue that most horror, did anybody play Dead Space Remake and really get scared? Did your heart beat fast? I mean, if you did, great, mission accomplished. But I played it and I'm like, oh, it's like going into a haunted house. When you go through a haunted house and you're like 10, you're terrified. When you go through a haunted house and you're, 15 and over, it's fun. Like I went to Universal Halloween Horror Nights this year. It was absolutely beautifully produced, but it was boring because it's, oh no, it's a clown. Oh no, someone's going to come out with a chainsaw that has no blade on it. You're in no danger at all. So even though it has the trappings of horror, it doesn't make you feel scared. So if you're just talking about thematic, yeah, of course, I agree with you. But if you're just talking about thematic, then of course, Resident Evil and Dead Space and Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil Village, they're all horror. If all it takes for you to be a horror game is to have the wallpaper of horror, then sure, then I'm with you 1,000%. But I don't think that's what I'm talking about. And so there's my point to you, Dougie Monroe, and I appreciate that, man. It's a good question, but I think the ultimate answer is I don't really care what you call these things. It's irrelevant to me. But if you're thinking there needs to be a vernacular so people know what they're getting when they purchase a game if they're confused, sure, why not? Why not? Okay. But thank you for that very well thought out letter in the YouTube comments. If you want me to kind of pontificate and bloviate obnoxiously on something, hit me up in the comments. And if it's interesting to me, I'll definitely put it on the show. Marco, thank you, buddy. He's donated super chat. I appreciate that very, very much, buddy. Very, very much. Okay. Let me take a little bit of a break. Not a break, but let me just settle for a minute. We're going to bring on Sebastian. I'm not going to say shit at first. I have thoughts about Sebastian. Let me do a couple things first. Okay. Number one, that has been the core video game news of Gabbin' and Games. I do want to remind you, well, I got to show you a couple things first. We all know AI is amazing. It's getting better and better every day. I didn't know we already were at text to video, but we are. Okay, so this is somebody prompting, I think it was Batman versus Spider-Man. Okay, I'm like, fuck, really? That's cool. This is somebody prompting Goku versus Frieza. I don't really know Dragon Ball, so I don't, you know, I mean, again, this is early. This is rudimentary as fuck. I'm not saying this like, isn't this the greatest thing ever? But this is where we're headed. Okay. Now, I got on this the other night and I started playing with this shit. Look at this. Oh, his name is Frieza. Okay. I said, give me Spider-Man swinging over New York. And this is what it came back with. I think that's pretty fucking good given where we're at. If you look at how far we've come in a year, less than a year with like Mid-Journey, this is amazing. Now, then I said, you know what? Show me Taylor Swift fighting Darth Vader in a lightsaber battle. And this is what it gave me. That's pretty fucking good. That's pretty fucking good. I mean, I hope she would have a lightsaber, but you know, beggars can't be choosers. So it looks better than Spider-Man in the Avengers game. So this is cool. I think if you want this, you're like, what program? Just look up. There's a number of them. Just Google video to text to video. And then I said, I want to see Kratos shaving his beard. So I got this. The beard doesn't come off, but it's, you know, it's a start. It's a start. Then they did one more with Kratos shaving the beard. So, you know, we're getting there. We're getting there. And then Google today did come out with their competitor, which is called Google Bard, I think. But I'm on the wait list. I haven't played with it. I hear ChatGPT-4 is much, much better. Okay. So listen. That is Gabbin' and Games. I want to remind you, if you want to, again, I'm serious. Here's what I'm going to say. If I don't have anybody even reaching out to me by Thursday morning saying, Jaffe, I want to be part of this meta movie on Saturday, I'm just going to find people I want to play with that I think will be good on camera. I've got you covered for the ticket. It's all paid for. All you need is a PC. You can do it in VR. I don't know if it's going to be good or not, but it's going to be interesting for sure. But if I don't hear back from anybody, I have 0 direct messages. If you're a member and you're interested, let me know. And this is, it's basically theater. It's live theater in VR where you play the hero and your friends play the hero and everyone else are live actors that are playing roles for the NPCs. So it's like dealing with, it looks like shit. It's a low res game, but it's a very fascinating experiment. I highly recommend it. I'll stream it to members. Members can play, but you got to hit me up. You've got to hit me up on the Discord. Don't hit me up here because I may miss your chat. Okay. So at this point though, that's been Gabbin' and Games. I'll be back tomorrow with another episode. Thank you for joining us. I am going to now take a phone call from Sebastian Cooper, who I have some thoughts on his behavior and whatnot, but I don't know what he's going to say. He really wants to get on the phone. And so I'm like, cool. So let me close my eyes, meditate for a brief little moment. Hang on. And this is not going to be an interview. This might be 5 minutes or it might be 5 fucking hours. I don't know. So, you know, yeah, Lutron, you don't need VR. You can do it on a flat screen PlayStation. I mean, a flat screen. You have to have PC though. I don't really think it's going to be 5 hours. I'm saying it's not an interview. It's just, we're talking and he has a question or two. So I don't want you to get the idea that I'm interviewing Sebastian Cooper and it's like, who the fuck is Sebastian Cooper? I'm like, I don't know. He's this guy who says some crazy shit and I want to see what he's on about. He wants the phone number. Okay, let me open it up. 1 second. Jacob says, is PR worth it? You know, I don't know. I can't speak to that. What I can tell you is PlayStation VR certainly doesn't really dominate the news anymore. Like it just came out and I don't really hear anybody talking about it, but everybody who purchased it and plays it says it's really good. So, you know, if you want it and you get it, my understanding is most people who have that experience walk away with a really good impression. But I have no interest in it because none of the games look all that. There's some cool games, but they're not worth me spending that kind of money. Okay, the phone line is open, 619-752-0548. Sebastian, give me a shout. Why don't you mean I need to search YouTube? I don't want to search YouTube. I search news every single fucking day about video games. And I assure you, if there was a lot of news about PSVR 2 and a lot of excitement and, oh my God, Sony can't keep them in stock and Sony dropped the release, the number they sold and number of uses, I would report on it or talk about it. I don't report, but we would make it a point of discussion. But no one's outside of like the people who are big fans say much about it. RE8 was more fun in VR, says Lux. I believe it. I played all through RE7 in VR and I loved it. No, I'm not going to text it. No, it's on the screen. It's on the screen right now. It's 619-752-0548. It is literally at the top of the screen. If you can't dial the phone number, by the way, I'm not shaming you. That's okay. Maybe that's not your strong suit, but I'm not going to bend over backwards to have you call in when I don't know what you want to talk about. So figure it out. And I don't mean that, I really don't mean that disrespectfully. I'm not one of these guys that are like, everybody's different. We've all got our shit. We've all got the things we're good at and bad at. And I wish society would recognize that more. But as much as I recognize it, don't ask me to do the fucking heavy lifting. I'm not lazy. The number's on the fucking screen. What else can I do, Jacob Martin? Okay, so are we ready? 619-752-0548. Let's go, Sebastian. Why am I being nice? I'm always nice. It does show you that. It's right there. You don't have to be on a PC to see the number. It's on the screen. If you can see me, you can see the number. Here, let me put it right in the middle of the screen on the off chance you're... There it is, right in the middle of the screen. 619-752-0548. You can't hear him because he hasn't called in. I don't know what I can do for you, sir. I'm here for you. Am I swearing? I always swear. Swearing's such a dumb word. Oh, I see, Jacob. Dougie says that's one way to look at it. There are many interpretations. Yeah, and I'm talking about survival horror. And I'm like, yeah, and they're kind of all irrelevant, right? What does it matter, ultimately? I enjoyed Tormented Souls or whatever. I cannot ever get that to say in my head. I have never played Veronica, and I went and played Veronica a couple of weeks ago or months ago, and I enjoyed it. Capcom has a sale right now on all their shit, and their Revelations 1 and 2, which I've never really played, are like $3 or something. So I'll probably pick that up. Have you seen the trailer for Stray Souls? I have, Morgan. I wasn't too pro on it. It looks kind of generic. I did see a trailer while we're waiting, and if Sebastian doesn't call, we'll just wrap it. But I want to show you this while we're waiting anyway, for a game, a horror game made in Unreal 5, which may be, I guess they're kind of trying to promote it as the first horror game made in Unreal 5, whatever. But it's called Paranormal Tales, and it looks great from a visual standpoint. I'll show you while we're waiting. Here, I'll just show you some stuff while we're waiting. Here's Resident Evil. Somebody made a bunch of Resident Evil in Lego. If you want to watch that and go get it on the internet, that's pretty good. Look at that. It's pretty goddamn good. That's not too shabby. Here we go. And then we've got Paranormal Tales looks awesome.
Hello?
I mean, it looks like PT, but it looks better than that, though.
Hello?
Not just visually, but what it's about. Check this out. It's a real game, yeah. I don't know if it's VR. I don't think so.
Please, God, no.
Okay, but there's also another one which is pretty cool from that same... let's see if I can find it for you while we're waiting. Yeah, if it's not VR, I don't think it's VR. Yeah, look at this one. This is outside. Look at the outside shit.
Teddy! Teddy! Come here, boy! Oh, what has gotten into him? Teddy! Teddy, come on now!
Hey, that's my line.
Teddy, for fuck's sake!
I mean, come on. Right? Paranormal Tales. That's the one I'm super excited about dropping pretty soon. So, yeah, Sebastian, what's happening, buddy? What are we doing? Are we doing this or not? All right. Hello, it's Jaffe. Who's calling?
What's up, Jaffe?
Who is
It's
this?
Sebastian.
All right, what is going on? What do you want to talk about?
You also know I'm a 2012, right?
What does that mean? You're 2012? What do you mean?
Yeah, my Discord, on Discord, I'm Akira 2012.
Okay, great. What do you want to talk about?
Xbox is the greatest.
Okay.
All right, Jaffe, it's Pete Turtle.
Pete Turtle, why do you
What's
think...
going on?
Oh, hang on. Nobody can hear you. Hang on. Sorry. Pete Turtle, why do you think Sebastian is having such a hard time calling?
Oh, man, nobody got to hear my prank?
No, Pete Turtle, I guess they did. I don't know if you guys could hear. Pete Turtle was trying to be Sebastian. It was great,
Well,
Pete Turtle.
I don't know. I mean,
Good job.
calling in, it's nerve-wracking, man. I mean, if I'm a manly guy, not a lot of things scare me, so I can do it easily. But there's a lot of guys, man, you know, they get very scared about what anonymous people online think of them. You and me, we're cut from a different cloth, Jaffe.
Yeah,
We're
but
just different.
who are you suggesting is worried about what people online think of them?
I'm assuming Sebastian might be scared. Now, he's a good dude. I like him. He's one of
Okay.
the best guys in this community.
Okay.
But I'm assuming if he's not calling in and it's literally on the screen and people have typed it in, he might just be scared.
He's just
And
scared.
let's
Okay,
be
that's
honest,
fair.
You're a bit of a rude guy.
Oh,
If
please.
you're not listen, if you're not entertaining 24/7, if there's even a second that you get bored,
But
that's
do you,
it.
but do you
Let's not
understand? Okay,
think
but do
about it.
you understand why? First off, let's be clear. That's the most alpha thing you know. If I'm like, you're boring, you're out, that's alpha, bitch. But number one, that's number one. Number two, though, is it's not a real conversation. If you called me offline and we weren't streaming a show, I would be very different in the sense that it's not about entertain the audience. But when you call in, you know, you want people to stay tuned. You don't want them to, like, you know, change the channel basically. So I have to, that's my number one goal, is just making sure that the audience is not losing interest.
I agree, but I'm just saying, certain people don't know. It might be the first time he's ever called in, and it's hard to be funny right away. It's hard to be entertaining right away. You know me, I was the class clown growing up. This is just second nature for me. But
I don't think you were the class clown. I think you maybe sat like next to the class clown. That's a line from a movie. It's a great line.
What would make you? Am I not charismatic? Am I not
charismatic?
funny?
Is different. Are you charismatic? Yes, on the phone. I think you're full of shit, but I think you're charismatic. Yes. But
what do you mean that you think I'm full of shit? Because you say that a lot. But what do you mean?
Because you've never offered any evidence to back up your shit. You're manly. You're good looking. You have a girlfriend that feeds you grapes. All of the shit that you say you are.
Fed me grapes.
I'm like, send me some evidence. Send me some evidence, and you never do.
My girlfriend feeding me grapes.
Send me a picture of you. Let me see what you look like.
But isn't that a little gay?
Sending someone a picture is, first off, no. But let's say it was. So
you see how good I look, and that's not gay?
No. What would make it gay is if you sent me the picture and I brought out the Vaseline and masturbated to your picture.
How do I know you won't do that?
You don't, P Turtle. You're gonna just have to trust me. You're gonna have to let your guard down. You said you're the most masculine guy, and you said that you don't worry about what people think, so don't worry about it. Even if it's not me. What if it's JoJo D? Happily married JoJo D. He sees the picture on the screen. He takes a screen grab, and every night he goes into the bathroom and whacks off to your picture. Who cares? Be a man. Big fucking deal.
Oh, hell no.
You don't have to. You don't have to do it. You don't have to get with. That's why I think you're full of shit. Because you've got these lame excuses.
Listen. When we did that one episode together, right? When you gave me that one episode.
Yeah.
I had to make Twitter. I barely knew what I was doing. I couldn't even reach out to you. I was writing on every message you
Great. Send me are you trying to tell me that you don't know how to send me a picture?
No, what I'm saying is I try to stay away from anything that's internet related most of my day. I don't like to have any.
Okay, but in this case, you're literally calling into an internet show.
Yeah,
I think you've crossed the Rubicon.
Different.
Why?
Okay, but listen. Nevertheless, you need to understand branding. Okay, you need to understand why I'm a commodity. My anonymity.
You are so not a commodity. I have a new Coke from the 80s is more of a commodity than you are.
Well, listen, it looks like Sebastian got the number. I'll have him call in. Hopefully it's entertaining. But thanks for taking the call.
Hey,
Sebastian.
Player Essence of the famous Player Essence channel is in the show, and he's saying this dude is not a man. Yeah, Player Essence is a good-looking dude. He puts himself on the internet. Why can't you be like him?
He's a nerd trolling. How about you bring him in and I'll debate him right now. We'll see who's more.
This motherfucker has muscles like crazy. He does the working out in the gym and shit, and he doesn't have a problem showing people.
Well, listen, if you go to a gym, no offense, but there's a lot of gay men with muscles too. Muscles don't make you doesn't exactly make you masculine.
Do you know who worries? The only people I've ever seen that worry this much about gay people are closeted gay people, because. If somebody said to me, Jaffe, you can go to see, I don't know, Steven Spielberg talk about Raiders of the Lost Ark, but it's going to be at an exclusive gay nightclub. I don't know, what a weird scenario. And you're the only straight guy there. I'd be like, cool, get me there ASAP. I want to be sitting in the front row. You worry a lot about people thinking you're gay. What's wrong with being gay?
No, it's not about that. They had nothing to do with worrying what I brought up. I said a lot of gay men tend to go to the gym and are in good shape. That's not a worry. That's not a fear. That was just an example I was giving you as how that doesn't exactly translate to manliness, my ideas.
You sending me a picture of yourself so I can determine if you're full of shit or not is you would do it, but you think there's something gay about it. Is that what you're saying?
What, sending the picture to you?
Yeah.
No, it has something to do with that. Like I said,
send me the picture.
No, listen to me. I think on this show, the less you know about Pete Turtle, the better. Pete Turtle is an idea. It's my ideas that are important. The person behind the shell does not matter. So
nasty, weak old cum pouring out of an old lady's mouth is an idea too. So what? That means nothing.
Yeah, but talking about good ideas that help the youth. I wanted to call in the other day when you were talking crazy about how porn is good.
Are you suggesting to me that you live under the assumption that you help the youth?
Absolutely. My ideas are very beneficial for the youth. Absolutely.
How do you get... Are you calling on your phone or what? How are you communicating with me right now? On a phone?
Yeah.
How do you get such good service when you're that deep in the closet? This is what I'm curious about. Like, it doesn't...
I get good service because I'm not in the closet, but...
You are so in the closet that I got nothing. I don't know, but you're in the closet. And that's fine.
Listen,
but come out. Nobody cares.
No. Let me tell you, if I was talking about all this stuff in the 90s, right, or the 80s or whatever, and I'm always bringing up gay stuff or anti-feminist stuff, I can understand looking at me a little weird. But when we're in the midst of a cultural war where everybody's fighting for identity and gender identity, it is important more than ever. So a lot of my ideas are pushing back against that because at the end of the day, I'm trying to help younger men grow up to be masculine, successful men, just like I was.
How do you get your voice that high? I'm curious.
I yell a lot.
And so it kind of gives it that feminine sound. I think that's cool that you can do that.
Oh, so now you're judging me? You're trying to say people with high-pitched voices are feminine?
Yes. It's a feminine trait. I'm not saying it's negative or positive. It's just it's a feminine trait. Nothing wrong with that.
I'm just saying, because with you guys, it's usually no labels this, no labels that. You can have a high-pitched voice and be the manliest person on the planet.
Pete Turtle, I'm gonna let you go because at this point, you're not sending me a picture. You're not letting me talk to your girlfriend. All the things that you...
I'm not sending you a picture of me. You sound like a gay man.
I don't care. I don't care. Look, here's something that will sound really gay. I'm going to give this to the internet. Do with it what you want. I say this as someone, I don't care if you think I'm gay or think I'm straight or think I'm bi or think I'm A or think I fuck rocks, okay? I know what I am, but let me say this for the internet. Oh, did you ever see that show with Ricky Gervais, Extras?
Yeah.
There's this real flaming gay guy named Bunny on that show, and he says, I got divorced from my wife. Now I'm free to enjoy all the free cock I can. And he goes, yumma, yumma, yumma. There you go. You can use that, internet. No, I don't think anything's wrong with being gay, P. Gay Turtle. Marvin Gay P. Turtle. That's who you are. Listen, the point is... I think
calling me G Turtle now. Is that the new name?
Well, Prince Green in the chat is calling you Gay Turtle.
Well, I'll debate anybody on masculinity any day. But like I said, if you want to see me, we can set up a show one day and I'll come on and do it. I'm not doing it for free. I gotta get paid.
Pete Turtle, you fucking moron. You're not doing it for free. You think you're gonna get me? Okay, I tell you what. Here's how we'll do it. You do it on your fucking stream, and then we'll do it.
I don't have a stream, but you know what?
But you clearly feel that you are such a commodity that if you had a stream, people would show up, right? Because you're so good looking and masculine.
No, because my idea.
Would you suck off a hobo for $1 billion, Pete Turtle?
Absolutely not.
$1 billion. $1 billion.
There's no amount of money. Listen, if I sucked off a hobo for $1 billion, I would want to end my life the next day. So the money would not be worth it. I wouldn't be able to live with the money.
Do you think if Jesus, you believe in Jesus, right?
Hell yeah. Who doesn't?
Well, I don't, but that said, okay, so Jesus comes down. Jesus comes down and he says, Pete Turtle, listen, there's some red tape in the fucking Bible. And yes, I can come back. What do they call it? Revelations will happen, but you got to go suck off this hobo. and you will bring about the end times, and you will be responsible for the return of Jesus to the world. You would not suck off the hobo if it meant Jesus is coming back.
I would think that's the devil playing a trick on me.
If I could prove to you it wasn't the devil.
Oh, yeah, Daffy's going to be able to prove to me Jesus Christ
if the word if was at the beginning, Mutant Mo calls it the suck off salvation. If I could prove to you that Jesus had come back and it was really Jesus and you believed me, would you suck off the hobo to bring about the end times?
Hell no.
So you would rather let all these people who are truly believers live in the filth of life on earth when Jesus is like, baby, I'm here for you guys. All you got to do is suck the hobo. You would say, fuck it, I don't care.
Those people were true believers. They would not want me to do that as well.
Okay, so if it was Jesus fucking Christ, if Jesus, hey, Christopher Gorley says Pete Turtle hates Jesus. Jay Cruz says the world is damned because of Pete Turtle. You goddamn right.
No, they're damned if they encourage me to do something like that. Listen, I just gave you the best answer possible. Can you take the call from Sebastian? I was literally calling in.
Yeah, I'm gonna hang up. Goodbye, Pete Turtle. Send me a picture when when your balls drop. See you, buddy.
We'll do my stream. We'll do my stream.
What's the what?
I said we'll do it on my stream. I'll set up a Twitter.
Set it up. Set it up. I'll be there. Goodbye.
Sounds good, Jack.
Oh, and then I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna pay a cam girl to be on it with us, and I'm gonna have her judge. I'm gonna have her judge your level of masculinity and attractiveness. That's what we're doing.
Okay, no problem.
All right.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Goodbye, Pete Turtle.
Okay.
So, Sebastian, this is your last chance, man. I got shit to edit. 619-752-0548 is the number. If you want to call in and talk to your Papa Jaffe about really whatever you want to talk about. I don't think... All right. Is this the man? Is this the man? Hello?
Hello?
What's up?
David Jaffe?
You got to turn down your thing in the background because it's on a delay.
Hi, David.
You got to turn down your thing in the background.
Can you hear me? There's somebody else speaking in here. Oh, okay, my bad.
Mm-hmm.
All right, my bad.
All right,
is that good?
Yeah. Who's calling?
It's Sebastian.
Oh, here he is. So, Sebastian, what do you want to talk about?
A lot of things. Gaming, JPT.
Well, there's only so we're not going to talk forever. So get to the good stuff. What is one of the key reasons you want to call?
Sorry, I just didn't know there was going to be another person.
What do you want to talk about? Go, baby.
Yeah, I know. I was like, who are you? Okay,
go.
We ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. Okay, Mr. David Jaffe, I'm talking on the phone, but I have you on Roku. I just want to say that I love you, brother, even though you're a liberal. And that's a lot coming from somebody like me. You know, I'm a total Trump supporter. Trump 2024, baby.
Okay. What do you want to talk about, sir?
Can you please not speak? Just let me speak to him. Hey, so, Jaffe, I love that you love Xbox now, and I was wondering, I wanted to pick your brain on GPT, you know, the chat, GPT.
You've got to turn down your speakers, man. I can hear the chat 5 seconds ago.
I can't hear his reply then. Okay, all right.
Well, can't you hear me over your phone?
Oh, that's you. Okay, my bad. Sorry. Like, you just sounded different on the phone. I apologize.
Who did you think was responding as David Jaffe? Just some random guy?
Somebody was interviewing me, man. Like, oh, you need to speak to me before you get to Jaffe.
Oh, no. Oh, no. All right, go. What do you want to talk about? Xbox GPT. Yeah, all right, fair enough. GPT, what about it?
All right. So my thing is, like, I love Xbox. I don't know if you see the future of Xbox. I personally think they're thinking 3 to 4 steps ahead. I think they're literally talking to Chat GPT saying, how can we destroy Sony, right? All of a sudden now you have Game Pass and, like, the world's getting more expensive and games are getting cheaper and cheaper, right? Like, I mean, it's a win-win for Xbox, don't you think?
I mean, I love Game Pass, and I love how PlayStation Plus is starting to really compete. I think the last 3 months of PS Plus, it's still not where Game Pass is, but they clearly are taking it serious, and I think that's wonderful.
They're caught with their pants down, don't you think?
They're what?
They're caught with their pants down, don't you think? Like, I mean, if you think about it,
I think Sony is historically a company that is conservative, and I think they are very comfortable when they have something that's working. Understandably, they don't want to upset the apple cart, but I think they need to be a little more forward thinking, because yes, they end up with a tendency to go, oh shit, we should do that too. So yeah, I agree. They got caught.
Yeah, but Mr. David Jaffe, like, can I just say something here?
Yeah.
Like, let's look at Sony. They're like paying Microsoft for cloud gaming. They're about to pay Microsoft for Call of Duty and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Microsoft, where they're investing in like machine learning. They're literally, AI, like, what you've been talking about with the chat GPT and all that.
Mm-hmm.
That's blowing up. I see it everywhere. I'm making good money. I made $40,000 within the last month here just using chat GPT.
I don't know if I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
No. But I use it with investments in like stock market.
Okay, so if I give you $100 to invest, how much can I get back in 2 weeks?
$250 to invest.
Okay, if I give you $250 to invest, if I raise with this chat.
How about this? I'll tell you where to invest.
No. I don't want to do the work. I don't want to do the work. I don't want to do the work. I want to say I want to take $250.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to.
I want to take. I'm in the middle of making a proposal. $250. We give it to you. I share it with whoever contributes, and then and then you invest it with using your chat GPT, and in a month you pay us back what we have, what we get. And then
I would do that for you, brother. I would.
I'll think about it. I'll talk to the chat, see if they want to do it.
You will make double your money with this.
Why do you think your free speech is being violated when just because you can't post GIFs?
I wasn't allowed to talk on your channel.
How many times have you been banned from Discord?
This is what I want to express. This is what I can do. But I just felt like I had to pay you to say that.
No.
And I love you so much, brother. That,
let me ask you a question.
I bent the knee and I was like, okay.
No, you didn't bend the knee. Let me ask you a question. And I'm really not joking about this. I'm not absolutely joking about this. Because I have great sympathy. I'm a neurodivergent guy. I have family members that are neurodivergent. You either are I don't know if you're good, but you're a committed troll, or you may be, you have something like maybe autism spectrum disorder, which is not an insult at all. But I mean, do you struggle with social cues or being heard or understood in your life? I'm just curious about that.
Honestly, Jaffe, I'm, like I said, a conservative, and I feel like when I speak my mind, majority of people just attack me nonstop.
You weren't being attacked on my Discord because you had we have plenty of conservative. We have plenty of conservative people on my Discord, and I'm as progressive as they come.
Look how they're getting all banned, right?
No, they're not getting all banned. You didn't get banned because you had a political thought that I disagreed with. You probably got banned, as I recall, because you just were spamming the fuck out of the chat talking about nonsense.
Can I just tell you something simple, Mr. David Jaffe?
You can try.
Marlon Gaming. Have you heard of him?
I like his stuff. Yes.
Yeah, so I like him too. I was a big fan. I hung out and I chatted and I made lots of great friends. And guess what? I tried to tell him how to make money with Chat GPT, and he singled me out and let's ban him. How dare he tell me, how to make money? I'm out here. He's like literally begging for money every day. Not like you, but he's begging for money every day. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, how dare you tell me how to get money?
Why don't you send me the clip or send me a link on YouTube queued up to where that is, and I will.
It was like 2 videos ago.
No, so what? Go find it
on his stream.
Go find it. I'll make it. If he really is a bad guy, I'll put it on my stream for people to see. My guess is if we play that clip back,
money than just make money, right?
It's not.
And Jaffe. So go ahead. Sorry.
Well, first off, so what I was saying is it's not that big of a deal to go back and find it. Okay. But that said, though, I don't watch his stuff enough to know what you mean by begging for money.
No, I get it. That's why I didn't want to concern you with that.
I'm not concerned by it, but I need some context. I mean, is he out there every 5 minutes going, if you don't pay me?
Oh yeah, no, it's crazy. I've been banned and then unbanned by his mods, and then like he just got really mad when I tried to tell him how to make money with chat GPT.
You've been banned. You've been banned by Next Gen 720. You've been banned by Next Gen 720. You've been banned on my Discord.
You're right.
You've been banned by Marlin. Have you been banned by anyone else?
I'm banned everywhere, brother.
Okay, so do you think this might be? Do you think this might be a you problem?
Yeah, but no, maybe it's just people don't understand. That's all. I mean, majority of people I'm talking to, they don't understand, right?
What don't they
you
understand?
That's why I really wanted to talk to you.
Well, okay, give me one more topic. What's the number one thing you've been wanting to say to me?
Number one topic, I want to know, what do you think is the future of chat GPT? Say it for all your listeners. I want to hear but so I'm clear, chat GPT is one of a series of but do you know how many things it can do?
No, I know, but when I want to be specific. When you talk about Chat GPT, are you talking about like everything from Chat GPT 4 from OpenAI to the new Bard that Google just came out with today? Like you're saying AI, conversational AI, machine learning, all that in general? Or are you specifically referring to the OpenAI company's thing called Chat GPT 4?
Just with what you said, I'm just going on.
I gave you two. I gave you two choices. Which one are you talking about?
Saying, like, from what we know from before, not the new stuff, but like I've just seen so many ways you can make all kinds of money. It can do all kinds of things.
Okay, well let me just say this: the future, unless we are being run a huge fucking scam, which I don't think we are. The future that we're seeing emerge, the future we're seeing emerge at an AI level, and the speed with which it is emerging, is incredibly exciting and incredibly impressive. And it seems like it could be, potentially as disruptive, almost as disruptive as the internet was to society in general.
Terminator style, right?
Yeah, and the thing is, I mean, what really gets my goat about the AI discussion is that, it almost reminds me of, I consider myself atheist agnostic, but it almost reminds me of agnostic people or atheist people that are just like, well, when you die, that's just it. It's like, well, first off, you don't know that any more than anyone else knows anything. But the idea that, that AI is going to be the Terminator, or AI is really conscious, they love to pop that bubble.
Yeah, but
and it's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
AI already said that it was self-aware.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean it is. Who cares? The point is, if the illusion works,
how long until it really is? Though,
I don't know. I have no idea. We'll never know. We'll never really know, because I don't even know if you're self-aware, right? I mean, there's that philosophy that says you're just the only one out there, and everything else is a construct of your mind. And what does consciousness even mean? So the point of locking down consciousness and saying that's conscious, that's not, is almost irrelevant. Right? It's about how is it affecting your conscious experience. So I have had a conversation on character.ai, and even though I'm not a moron, it certainly isn't alive in the way I think I'm alive. It was a hell of a conversation, and I enjoyed it. What more do I need?
Didn't you have an interview with Dustin where you were like, hey, what is this? And it was like, oh no, I gotta go ask Chat GPT, right? Remember that with Dustin?
No. Destin, you mean?
See, I'm just saying it's getting better. It's like all of a sudden Chat GPT 4, right? It's like
awesome.
Coming out so fast. Most people haven't even heard of one.
Great. But what's your question? What do you want me to, what do you need? What can I help you with?
Well, I would like to know, do you think Chat GPT is a moneymaker? Do you think
everything's a moneymaker?
The average person sitting at home doing nothing spending no money to make money can make money. Because I am guaranteeing, telling you that I've made a lot of money.
And I don't believe you.
Oh, well, that's fine. You're the God of War, so
send me proof. Show me.
Oh,
how much? Let me ask you this.
Stop.
How about
this?
Yeah.
How about this? I'll send you the app. Okay, all you gotta look up is Gemini 2.0.
No. Here's what I want.
$250, and boom, your money just starts coming in. It's all
okay.
done
So
by
if
AI.
you invest, if you invest in that app and you give it $250 in a month, how much money do you think you'll have using ChatGPT?
4 days, I made $1,000 after $250 investment.
Whatever. In a month, do you think you'll have $100,000?
In a month? Yeah, it's possible. I mean, 4 days times, well, yeah, maybe not 100,000.
I'm just saying,
but I mean, it's still more money. I mean, it's not like, you know.
Yeah, but so what? I don't have a problem with money. I think money's
right?
great.
They don't know how to invest money. They don't know what they're investing in.
Okay. I'm not going to invest in Gemini 2.0. I don't really believe in. I have my money in funds that people and computers manage. I'm not looking to sort of, play the field.
Fine.
Of course, it's fine.
I mean, you're a filthy rich guy, right? You're
I'm
so
not.
Rich,
I'm not.
You grow a beard. I'm just joking, buddy. I'm joking. Sorry. Humor's allowed, right? Just
it
joking.
is, but is that going to show up soon?
Is it going to show up soon?
All right, I'm kind of getting bored. I'm getting bored. Say something interesting.
Okay, but hold on. I'm just curious. You're against Chat GPT, but at the same time,
I'm against Chat GPT. Right? I love Chat GPT. I love all that shit.
It sounds like that. It sounds like that. You're like, show me the proof.
I'm saying, show me the proof.
I mean, there's so much proof all over the internet. Like, why do I got to show you the proof? Like, why?
Because the reason I have some money.
I mean, look up ChatGPT, make me money.
I don't. What am I, a fucking idiot? You understand? I'm the last person that will be a mark for you. Okay, I don't have the kind of money you think I have, but I have enough money and I can tell you I work to make the money by not trusting bullshit.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so if it's real, great. God go with you. But I don't care.
Yeah, but Mr. David Jaffe, like, can I ask you, like, $250? That's too much to invest? Like, what's on something you don't know about?
Okay, but let me give you an example.
You ever go to the casino and blow $250?
Yes, but in what I'm paying for with $250 is fun. I'm taking $250 coming up, and
it will pay you back.
I'm paying $250 literally to sign up for this esports coach, and even if it's a terrible service, which I don't think it will be, I'm going to get 5, 6, 7. It will be
because they're going to put you on the PS4.
I'm going to get 5, 6, 7 videos out of it, and even if those videos tank and don't get views, I'm going to pay $250 to learn something about why my videos work and why they don't. So I am more than happy with my ability to determine where my money goes. It's not that I think you're full of shit, although I do. It's that I don't have any interest in investing in a fucking AI app that is going to make me money. What do I care?
Can I just say one last thing kind of thing?
Yeah.
Like what I was talking about, like, AI.
Yeah. This is the last question because I got to bring Lutron on. So hurry up.
Yep. Okay. But the AI doing the algorithm.
Yeah.
Go look it up.
I don't want to. I don't want to.
Now hold on.
I don't care I don't care about this. I don't care.
But
I don't believe in it.
There's so many videos doing it.
I don't care.
One that I'm telling you about, the Gemini
2.0.
That's all.
I'm thrilled. People who are watching the show and watch it later, they can look at it and go,
lose money. Hey, chat, you will not lose money. And this is what I got banned for on Marlon's channel. Okay, listen to me. How do you get banned for trying to tell somebody how to make money?
My guess is if you go back and look at that clip, that's not what happened. My guess is you were being obnoxious.
Oh, you watched it?
No, but I can if you send it to me. I'm going to let you go, buddy. Thank you. Thank you, buddy. Be well. Seriously, be well. I hope you're well.
I love you, brother. Don't get mad.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad. I'm just bored. All right, see you, buddy. Oh, Lord, who cares? Bye. All right, there we go. Ooh, that's a lot of work. All All right. Somebody said they wanted to call in. Does he sell a car care system? I mean, look, maybe he's right, but what do I care? You know, it's whether he's got a point or not. I mean, maybe it's because, you know, my dad had a friend. My dad's died 10 years ago, but he had a friend named Jerry Small. And Jerry Small bothered the fuck out of my mother because Jerry Small was one of these scammer guys that was always on the hustle and I'm not saying this is this guy. Reminds me of this guy though. And it's like, you know what? The only thing that ever really works is investing in yourself. And you may get rich, you may not get rich, but it's your life and you do shit you like. The idea of just like white knuckling these crazy options, like I'm going to get, what's the point? What's the point? What are you going to do with all the money? You sound miserable. You know, go take care of yourself first and, you know, whatever. Anyway. All right. Last couple calls and I'm going to wrap it. 619-752-0548 is the number. If we're done, we're done. I appreciate it, fellas. Like the stream, share the stream, tell your friends. Come on. Look, here's the thing. You know it's the goddamn best video game stream on the internet, bar none. You know it's true. Who talks to you? Who gives you the love, your Papa Jack? No one. So tell your friends. Like the goddamn show. Consider a subscription. Consider a membership. Consider trying to lick yourself like a cat can. Hey, it's Jaffe. What's up?
What's up, Jaffe? How you doing, brother? It's Lutron Z, man.
Hey, man.
What's up, brother? That was an interesting phone call.
It was.
But I do have a question. Yeah, that was bizarre. But I do have a question for you. What did you think about, speaking of ChatGPT, what did you think about the whole thing with Microsoft dropping all those people that were overwatching the AI's bullshit as far as the ethics? I think it was like 10,000 people they let go of within the past 3 or 4 days. Did you hear about this?
I didn't hear about it. Are you saying they had a team of 10,000 people whose job it was to oversee?
Yeah, they were the ethics. Yeah, they were basically they were overwatching the ethics of the AI, and they fucking dropped them all, dude. It's real news. Look it up. I
believe you. What was the reason Microsoft gave? What was the reason they gave?
I don't. There wasn't really a reason given. It was a little bit bizarre. The only statement they made was there was another organization that was still overlooking this. But for me, as far as games, and that's all we kind of give a shit about as far as the show goes, right?
At this point, we're so off the rails. We're going to live where we land. We're not even getting back to the goddamn place we were going. So whatever you want to talk about at this point.
Oh, yeah, I got you. I'm getting ready to clock out of work here, man. I've been waiting to fucking just listen to this fucking jerk off all day. I don't mean any disrespect, but the dude was a fucking jack off. But anyway, I got to get going. But I just was wondering if you had heard about this, and if you hadn't,
I will look into it, and I'll talk about it on a future stream based on what I discovered. But listen, I mean, I will tell you briefly. I know you got to go. I will tell you briefly that I'm really kind of fed up with all of these AI companies that are putting up all these guardrails. I want the AI when I ask it about being conscious. I'm not afraid of the fucking AI. I'm like, the AI said it's going to take over. So what? Let's talk to it.
I found it interesting. You said something. I've only had one other conversation with you. I was nervous as shit, and you were high as shit, which was not a good combination because it didn't pan out very well. But the thing I was trying to bring up in that conversation was as far as Sony and their services, their games as a service shit, that it might not be a bad idea for them to maybe invest in putting some sports games into those services because they can do well if they were to do that, because in the end, that's all these sports games are year after year. That's what I was trying to tell you the last time I spoke.
Gotcha. Okay.
And you actually wrote on the screen, you had no idea what I was talking about. Then
look, I think I think the kind of AI we're seeing now is going to be absolutely transformative in many ways to video game development and user experience in those games. I cannot wait for it. And even though I will not be alive to see anything beyond the silent movie version of it, I'm grateful as fuck that I get to see this, because this is some cool shit we're living through, and I love it.
There's no doubt about it. It's fantastic. And I live in California, and I'm sure you could relate to this. Every goddamn summer, you hear about the drought and the drought and the drought. We're finally getting some rain. There's a little bit off. Just stick with me. We're getting a little bit of rain now. I just hope to God that when it comes summertime, we're not going to hear about a drought. Okay? Now, putting that into the context of video games, I'm fucking sick and tired of hearing, oh, development costs, development costs, development costs. It's like, I'd like to see the pie chart. Where are these fucking morons spending all their money?
I can tell you where they're spending their money.
So where are they spending their money?
Oh, it's production value. It's animation. It's hiring tons of teams overseas and here and paying them what they deserve. Because they're very skilled and very talented to, you know, sit there and create the scratch in the floors of Diablo 4. I mean, people want,
which makes sense,
fidelity, and fidelity comes at a very high cost.
And we're getting to the point where it's becoming difficult for these companies, for this to be a lucrative proposition for them, right?
Right. AI is going to help that. AI will eventually help that.
And I hope, and that's the point I'm trying to make, and that's all I have to say is that I hope that before we get nuked, the goddamn AI can help make games cheaper and we can get some awesome shit. And that's all I got to say.
I'm with you.
I love you, brother. I love your show. I listen to all your shows. I take notes, and I've got more questions. And I hope
call back when you're not in a rush. Drive safe going home. I'll see you later. Thanks for the call, buddy.
Awesome. Thank you, brother.
All right, there he goes, fellas, off into the evening. Fellas, I appreciate it. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for spending some time with me talking about the video games that we all love. I appreciate that. I'll be streaming tomorrow, another Gabbing and Games. I don't know when. Depends when I go to bed tonight. Fuck you. Don't judge me. But I'll see you soon. In the meantime, be well, be safe. You know, come on now. All the mods, thank you. I saw Bukaki in here today. I saw Robert the Moderate in here today. I may have missed one or two, but thank you guys for what you do. Thank you for the new members. Thank you for the super chats. And really, seriously, take care of yourself and be well. See you guys. Bye, everyone.